Hello everyone, I'm Wade, your cinephile host. I'm sure most of us know that in most languages there are usually many dialects. English is no different. Today, we'll take a closer look at the Irish English, formerly known as Hiberno English. The movie, The Nephew, is set in Ireland, where we see beautiful landscapes, listen to graceful Irish folk music, and learn the difference between Irish English to American English. As we follow Chad, a young biracial teen who had grown up in the States, returned to his mother's hometown after her passing to live with his uncle. Pierce Brosnan is one of the producers of this movie and stars as the owner of a bar as Joe Brady. Chad brings his mom's centenary urn back to her birthplace, a tiny island, Innishdara, where his uncle Tony is a cattle farmer. One day, Tony receives a letter from his sister, Karen, who is on her deathbed in New York, indicating that her son Chad will be coming to live with him. With grievance in his heart, Tony prepares to pick his nephew up by the ferry, only to be surprised by Chad's appearance. He knew nothing of Chad nor of his father, so Chad later tells him about his parents' marriage and that they ran a bar for a living in New York.
We owned a little bodega in Hell's Kitchen. It's a little store. And he was shot when I was 10.
America must be a bloody violent place.
And Ireland isn't?
A few days later, during a gathering where most of the island's people got together to mourn, Chad is instigated by someone to sing a traditional Irish song. To their surprise, Chad sang Phil Phil a Rhino, which won the hearts of everyone.
Phil, Phil, a Rhino. Phil, a Rhino, is na himigwem. Phil a rum, a kish lesser store.
That night, Ashlyn, Joe Brady's daughter, offers to show Chad around the island. So, they meet the very next day and Ashlyn gives Chad a tour, while teaching him the ways and words of the Irish. What Chad calls playing hooky, Ashlyn calls it mitching. When Chad sees a waterfall, Ashlyn corrects him and tells him it's a cascade. While they sat by the crumlech, Chad couldn't understand what it was, so Ashlyn explains.
This crumlech's one of the oldest things on the island, you know.
This what?
Cromlech. It's like an ancient tomb filled with souls and bones and things.
While they are at the crumlech, Chad draws a portrait of Ashlyn. She is mesmerized by his artistic talent. Before saying goodbye, Chad steals a kiss from Ashlyn. She was smitten by this, but unfortunately, due to some past history, Uncle Tony forbids Chad to see Ashlyn again, while Ashlyn's dad also insisted that she stops meeting with Chad. Tony and Joe both refused to share the reasons why they had a problem with each other, so Chad asked a couple of local boys to hand Ashlyn a portrait sketch he had done of her.
Will you do me a favor, okay? Will you give this to her for me? All right? You gotta make sure she gets this because this is very important.
Come on, Chad!
Peace out. Did you see the hanky on his head? Yeah, it was cool.
Chad?
Even though Chad and Ashlyn were told not to meet, Ashlyn sent Chad a postcard to meet in secret at the Innishdara Lighthouse at lunchtime on Friday. Ashlyn excitedly awaits their meet as she admires the beautifully drawn portrait Chad drew of her over and over again. So they meet again. While driving back to Tony's house, they both realize that though they come from broken families, they would both at least have each other. In light of this, Chad asks Ashlyn to help him cut his dreadlocks off in a symbolic gesture for a new beginning. While doing so, they shared an intimate moment with each other. Chad later finds letters his mom wrote to Joe Brady from America that Tony never gave to Joe, so he confronts his uncle about this.
What are you gonna tell me about my mother's letters?
What letter?
The ones you kept from Joe Brady.
You should never have come here.
The reason Tony forbade his sister from seeing Joe was because she was still underage, but Karen and Joe were in love, and she was having his child. However, after leaving the island, Karen fell ill and lost the baby. Yet again, it seems like Tony is doing the exact same thing with Chad and Ashlyn. After speaking with Branda, Chad finds out that Uncle Tony had an affair with her, and they had a son together called Peter. With all this complication, Chad had had enough and decided to leave, so he goes to bid Ashlyn farewell.
What happened?
I'm out of here.
Was it Peter?
It's not about Peter. I just can't stay here.
Chad slept under the cremlech that night. The very next morning, Joe finds Chad, and Chad then gives him all the letters his mom had written to him over the years, then left for the ferry. Ashlyn accompanies Chad to the ferry and offers to leave with him, but Chad rejects this because he doesn't want her to give up her life in Ireland just for him. Fortunately, Joe and Tony work things out and rush to the ferry just in time to stop Chad from leaving. Tony apologizes and asks Chad to stay and give him a second chance. In the end, they conducted the ceremony of scattering the cremated ashes of Karen, symbolically letting go of the past. This story shows us that no matter how different we might be, as long as we are willing to try to learn and understand each other's differences, we can build a wonderful relationship with people that are different to us. So let's explore some of these differences in the use of the English language. 我们来看看几个例子吧。
No, I'm meant to be in school.
Oh, you mean you're playing hooky?
I'm Mitchin. We call it Mitchin here.
Mitchin?
Yeah.
Ruby, how would you say if someone is supposed to be in class but doesn't show up to class?
Well, I'd say 翘课.
Oh, 在南非我们会说 to bunk class. 但是我在美国读大学的时候，我们会说 to skip class. I've actually also heard people using cutting classes.
都是同样的意思吗？
是的，都是翘课的意思。
Wow, you sure know a lot about 翘课. Have you ever done it?
不好说。Yeah, let's move on to our next clip.
How long have you had your dreads?
Oh, actually, they're called locks, not dreads.
What's the difference?
Ruby, locks 不是锁吗？
Well, yeah, but it's also a hairstyle as we just saw in the clip. A lot like dreads, but a little bit tidier.
Oh, they look so cool. How do you get dreadlocks? And I mean, can I get some for myself?
I knew you'd be interested, so I prepared a tutorial video for you.
Oh, nice.
While Wade is figuring it out, let's watch our last example.
Hey, Brenda. Can I take you up on your offer?
What? Oh, you mean you want to drop in?
Yeah, whenever.
Oh, come on now.
Would you say so when you want to pay someone a visit, Ruby?
I usually say, can I swim by?
Swing, like 秋千?
No, swim by has the same meaning as coming over. You can also say pop over or drop by.
Oh, wow, you sure know a lot about swinging by. 是不是常常被约出去呢? You're such a 社交蝴蝶.
Do you mean social butterfly? The correct Chinese term is 社交花.
Oh, okay. Well, I am Wade, and I hope you have learned something useful in this episode of Cinephile as I just did.
I'm Ruby. You can find more on the FUNDAY website.
Let's make every day a fun day.
What happened?
I'm out of here.
Was it Peter?
It's not about Peter. I just can't stay here.
When will you go?
Tomorrow morning. I just came to say goodbye, and I'm sorry for any trouble I may have caused you or your family.
It was the drawing, wasn't it?
It's part of it.
It was a beautiful drawing. I do remember having more clothes on, but